Hi, my name is Cameron Sullenberger, and I'm the musical director of Sunday in the Park with George, produced by Revival Theater Company. You know, when we first talked about doing George, I thought, oh, wow, that's kind of a monumental task. We are talking about a genius that composed it, Stephen Sondheim. What makes it so special? And what makes so many theater people flock to it? I think it's because there's a voice that's very clear through the whole show. And that's Stephen Sondheim. And one of the ways that he does what he does is through character development and through the music, which I might add is not easy to play and it's not easy to sing. Ask anybody who's ever done George, and they will probably curse you during the rehearsal process, but they will probably talk very fondly about the performance. What makes actors and singers so drawn to this? It's the challenge. It's the emotion. It's the quirkiness. It's music that matches character, and it's music that develops a story. Anybody who knows Stephen Sondheim and talks about him or reads about him will say that one of his hallmarks is being able to develop a story through the music and through the scene with music and not just comment. And one of the things that he does with George is he lets us know that George is on the cusp of a new painting and on a new way of painting. And one of the reasons that we hear this music is because he is using pointillism to paint his paintings. And so one of the songs in the show, Color and Light, has this going throughout. Another theme that Stephen uses is this romantic theme that runs through the musical. Anytime there's a tender moment between Dot and George. And right when you think it's going to stay there, it doesn't. It's this struggle with George. George seems like he's cold and he's fixed, but he's not really. He's like a lot of people who are creative. They're geniuses. And so is Stephen Sondheim. Another conversational musical piece that he uses to move the story along and to explain different kinds of emotions between people having conversations is this theme. Second bottle, while she looks for me. When you think you've had enough of weird chords and rhythms, when you just think you can't take any more of the freneticism, the composer brings it all the way back. And not just with the music, incredible scene work, abstract scene work. You see, the beauty in George is that it's not just clear-cut. It's an abstract piece because painting is abstract. And we get into the artist's mind. And when you've just kind of felt like your ears can't take it anymore, he brings it all the way around to beauty. And you hear at the end of the first act and at the end of the show, one of the hallmark pieces of Sunday in the Park with George. It goes like this. Sunday by the blue, purple, yellow, red water, on the green, purple, yellow, red grass, let us pass through a perfect pausing on a Sunday by the blue, water, on the soft green elliptical grass, as we pass through arrangements of shadows towards the vertical the trees forever. We're still in the process. We're still learning. We're still wondering, and we're still finding something new every time we rehearse this piece. Thank you for listening, and I have a special video I want you to listen to and watch. It's something that I found on the internet, and I think you're going to find it really, really exciting. Thank you.
Bit by bit, putting it together, piece by piece, only way to make a work of art. Every moment makes a contribution, every little detail plays a part, having just the vision.
Drawing inspiration from an impressionist painting, Lapine and Sondheim juxtaposed the life of 19th century painter Georges Seurat with that of his great-grandson, George, a modern conceptual artist.
The art of making art, just putting it together, bit by bit.
Sunday in the Park was this very intense, very personal show about the painter Georges Seurat and his passion for his art. At the same time, it really was a Broadway musical about how art is created and how even a musical is created.
Art isn't easy. Every minor detail is a major decision. Have to keep things in scale, have to hold to your vision. Every time I start to feel defensive, I remember lasers are expensive. What's a little cocktail conversation if it's going to get you your foundation? Lead to a prominent commission, an exhibition in addition. Art isn't easy.
First presented as a workshop at Playwrights Horizons, the show transferred to Broadway before the second act was fully developed.
That whole Sunday process was just like watching a painting come together, particularly that painting, dot by dot. And as each song came in, as each lyric came in, the picture became more focused and the storytelling clearer, and it literally didn't come together till, I think a day or two before the critics arrived.
Order. Design.
Color and light has to show George's intense, trance-like, obsessive concentration. So, which accounts for the basic theme, which is
Bum 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 bum. Red.
when you see a guy do that over and over and over again, and when he's all done, he's got a little, square inch of canvas done, and then he's got to do another square inch. Now he's finished the hat. Now he's got to do another hat. You realize, and that's, of course, the way everybody who makes art does it.
Red, orange, orange, pick up blue, pick up red, pick up orange from the blue, green, blue, green, blue, green.
Steve Sondheim defines success entirely artistically and within his own vision. I don't think anything else enters into it for him. It makes it tough, I think, for his commercial producers, because they sometimes define success a little differently.
By the blue, purple, yellow, red water, on the green, purple, yellow, red grass.
What Sondheim has is an avant-garde sensibility in a popular art form. But when we start to see musicals about pointillism and making art, the musical has gone a long way from its original popular roots. And I think that is the strength and the weakness of Sondheim.
Sunday in the Park keeps layering on elements that seem pointillistic, that seem self-contained anecdotes.
Made of flecks of light.
And gradually, it all comes together in the first act to form a complete picture. At the same time, Seurat's masterpiece comes together as a painting.
Stephen Sondheim right now is the history of the musical theater. I mean, he's that important. And people inside the theater, people who know theater, people who appreciate it, know that. It's why, in spite of his shows not necessarily always making money, there's always a line being formed to produce them.